Okay, today we have an A1466 that appears to be liquid damaged. Let's see what it does. So, I believe they said this one has no backlight, but let's double check. So, could be no power, could actually be no backlight, could be no image. So let's go ahead and check, plug in the charger, and see what it does. So here is our charger. We plug it in, and see if I hear a chime. And this one is incredibly dirty, so I'm going to grab some gloves, because I don't know what is on there. Okay, so I didn't hear a chime, so this may actually be no power, or no post. So let's grab some gloves. Okay, so I'm going to grab my phone, I'm going to shine a light through the Apple logo and see if we see anything. So here is our light, here is our screen, and you can see that we actually do have no backlight, because if I shine light through the screen here, it's probably going to be hard to see through there. Where is it? See that? See how we see a name right there, part of a name icon? So this is actually no backlight. So maybe we'll get a simple one, or maybe we won't. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and open this up and see what we find on the board. So on MacBook Airs, it's super common for there to be liquid damage around the LCD area and the backlight driver. So notice on the enclosure we have some liquid here, and of course they probably said they never spilled anything on it, or that it's never seen water before. We're going to confirm that. So let's go ahead and grab a P5 screwdriver and a screw holder, and let's take off the bottom case. Let's see what we find. Here's our P5. Sure. What do you know? MacBook that's never had anything spilled on it has indeed had something spilled on it. Wonder what that looks like. That looks like not liquid to me. That's clearly not liquid. Let's go ahead and take the board out. Let's take the board out and repair that not liquid damage. Dennis says that's slander. Why not? Lee is here. Lee says it's 4 a.m. Why are you watching the stream and not sleeping? these little, so on MacBook Airs, it's really common that I see people putting the wrong screws in around here. The fan gets a short screw. This screw right here gets one with a fat head on it. This one gets a slightly longer screw than the board screw. However, it really doesn't matter if you put a board screw there. And then there's a little tiny one on the heatsink that I always see people put the wrong screw in. So this little one at the heatsink takes a special screw. It's the shortest one in the computer. Don't mix them up, especially the one near the fan, because you'll long screw damage the board, and you don't want that. Because then if you send it to me, if you send it to me after you do that and you long screw the board, I will judge you for long screwing the board. Cedric is here. And please don't put the long screw in the CPU holes. You'll destroy your board. Okay, so let's have a look under the microscope at this board and see what we see. See if we see any more not liquid. Let's see if we see any not liquid damage. JTAG is clean. PP3B42 area is clean. 1V05 SO circuit is clean. CPU MOSFET area is clean, just dusty. There's some not liquid here. More not liquid here, as you can see. Check out all this. This is clearly not liquid. Clearly not liquid damaged. Especially in there. Look how nice that little capacitor looks in there. So here's our feedback trace for the backlight. That looks okay. That doesn't look too bad. I mean, I've seen better, but that doesn't look too awful. And what do you know? More not liquid by our backlight driver. But this is mainly, yeah, this is mainly Thunderbolt. Here's backlight enable. I believe backlight, no, this is something else. It's for backlight though. By our Thunderbolt circuit's pretty corroded. Our backlight driver actually looks pretty clean. This pin 5 right here always gets messed up, and that actually looks okay. But it's probably under here. Bluetooth looks like trash. SMC looks okay, but Bluetooth area looks like trash. This is for our Wi-Fi. That looks like trash also. Clock chip had a little bit of liquid by it, but not too bad. U1950, also common, looks clean. Also, this power grid circuit looks okay. ISL6259 looks okay. So pretty much just going to be our backlight and Thunderbolt circuit, so nice and easy. So, the first thing I want to check is what voltage do we get on backlight output. So I'm going to go ahead and put the board back in the enclosure, and I want to check on what voltage I get on backlight output, because that will tell me relatively what's going on in the circuit. So if we have an issue with our boost circuit, it'll be 8 volts or 18 volts. If we have an issue with if we have a short or a blown fuse, then it'll be 0 volts. If we have an issue with our screen or screen connector, it'll be 39 to 50 volts. If it's working, it'll be 25 volts. It's obviously not working. So I'm going to go ahead and plug the screen in. I'm going to check that. So come on, go in here. So that is plugged in. Let's plug in our DC in board. That's the only thing we really need. We don't need anything else to test this. So I'm going to put the laptop like this, plug in the charger, grab our meter, which the batteries are probably dead in because I keep forgetting to charge the batteries overnight. So here's our meter. The fan just started spinning, so I'm going to go ahead and check voltage on backlight output. And that is 0 volts. I'm measuring here. That is 0 volts. So we either have a blown fuse, we have a short, or something else is going on. So let's check. One side of the fuse is 0 volts. Other side of the fuse is 8.57 volts. So we actually have a blown fuse here. However, what happens if we just replace this fuse? What do you think is going to happen if we replace the fuse? If we just replace the fuse and not take care of anything else, what's going to happen? It's going to blow again because there's clearly a short here. Look at how that cap looked. So let's go ahead and check for a short. So on backlight output, we do have an 8.5 ohm short to ground. So that is obviously going to blow the fuse because it's not going to like having a short to ground. And this is actually one of the rare instances that the LCD connector doesn't have burn before the fuse blows. So we know we probably have a short. Well, we know we do have a short. So what I'm going to do is take off everything that looks like it may be shorted, especially these caps on backlight output. So let's go ahead and do that now. So first let me read some chat and see what's going on here. Speaking of dead CPUs, how long until people like Lewis and Tim pay someone like Scotty from Strange Parts to find dependable CPU vendors in the market for them? I don't know, because I don't know if I want to change CPUs. Because it's really not that profitable. I mean, and I don't really want to do it. Dennis says must have been a defective fuse. Yes, I agree. It's very rare that an Apple fuse will blow, because it's Apple after all. Who would imagine Apple would design a product that wouldn't go on fire before the fuse blew? I wouldn't think so. So I'm going to put a nice amount of flux here. I want you to focus there. I'm going to take off everything, except the diode. The diode never goes bad. I don't think I've ever seen that diode fail. And yet that one Chinese company that did a video on a MacBook Air backlight repair somehow had a video of a diode, them replacing a diode. I've never seen that diode blow. Like, that diode can be all corroded and falling apart, and that diode won't blow. I'm going to preheat the board a little bit because it's cold. Okay, we took everything off of that area. And let's check if we still have a short. And there's no more short here. So it had to have been one of those caps. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is clean up this area. Put a good amount of flux in there, run my iron along here, and just clean up all that old solder, wick it away, and put new. I want a bigger tip than this little tiny BC1. I'm going to go with the BC2, which is much bigger. That quick is insane. The size of that caps won't come off so easy with my hot air. Yes, you should get a better hot air station. A real hot air station helps immensely. Why buy it from China when you can buy it from the US? I don't like the pad. I'm going to replace this coil too. The coil's fine, but I don't like the pad and I have to take it off. And I'm not going to put an old coil back on. So I will take this off. So I can clean the pad. Or buy from Union Repair or someone. If you want to buy it from China, get it from Union Repair. Anything you buy off of like AliExpress and all that's going to be fake. Putting standoffs on board isn't exactly the best choice, but it saves space instead of putting mounting holes, allowing even smaller boards. I wish they did have I mean, okay, here's the thing. The standoffs are not a problem for people that know what they're doing. The issue is that repair stores that don't know what they're doing end up long screw damaging the board. So I do wish that they went back to the old style where it goes through the board rather than the new style standoff, simply because, well, see, like the new MacBooks, they have that. They go through the board, and that's one of the things I like about the new ones, out of very few things, that they're a lot harder to long screw damage. They have a lot of different size screws, but they're harder to long screw damage in the fact that the CPU screws go through the board. So that saves a lot of shops from destroying the board because they don't know what they're doing and put the wrong screw. $560 isn't available here either. I have to order it from Amtech in large amounts, and I haven't done that lately because 559 has gotten better again. 559, by all means, 560 I still think is better, but 559 isn't as bad as it was like in the beginning of the year. I think they changed whatever they cut back in it. Because it's nowhere near like it was. It was pretty bad before. So there's a solder there. Now I'm going to grab a donor board. This one looks good. I might have unplugged it. So. Huh? No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Can you sign for that? Thank you. grab a new fuse. I got sick of pulling backlight fuses off of donor boards because I didn't really get many of them before, so I just got a huge reel of them now. They're like 2 cents each, I don't know. I just entered like 200 and it came out to like 20 bucks. I don't know. Maybe 100. I don't know how many's on here. It's more than I need. And the type of fuse on donor boards, they're like fiber or whatever, and they come apart when you heat them, and they burn when you heat them. This type of fuse doesn't. I don't know. It's a different type of fuse. Like I could see through it, and it's clear. It's not fibrous like the other ones are. So I like this fuse better. It's the same current readings and voltage ratings, all that, but it's just more durable. And I believe these actually blow, too. I've seen these blow more than... I've seen these blow on boards that I've had shorts on a lot more than the Apple fuses. So it's probably a better quality fuse. So there's that. We would probably get backlight. We got to address this area. Like, come on. You're not going to leave that on here. Okay, cool. Cam says, can Cam's sleeping schedule be fixed? Probably not. Just like my working schedule can't be fixed. So this area was just so nasty that I wanted to clean it a little bit before I put fresh solder and stuff on, just because it's just bad. Okay. And this is blurry the whole time. This is really annoying when that happens. So this via right here is no good, and this is for backlight. So let's see where this goes. Let's open a board view. I added more fans and more voltage to my computer, so now it doesn't crash like it did the other day. And that is Backlight SDA, and where does Backlight SDA come from? That's scary. That sounds like it comes from PCH. Okay, that legitimately just looks like a probe point. I'm gonna hope that's just a probe point, and we're gonna ignore that for now. But if... yeah, that better just be a probe point and not go to the CPU. Hi Tim, I was wondering how late do you actually work in one day? It depends on how I feel. Usually like 9, 10 o'clock at night. If on days that I'm tired, I leave a little bit earlier than that. I usually leave around 8. In the summer, when it's, you know, not as cold outside, I tend to stay until like 12 or 1 in the morning. Nell isn't here, but it's just a probe point. Yes, if a Nell shows up, then you know that's a PCH data line to the CPU, that it won't work if we don't have that. And then I can cry. We will not let the curse of an L ruin the stream. Besides, I think the curse is broken, and now I think his curse. He has a curse now with dead CPUs. I agree, Christian, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. I mean, like, this year I worked a lot. If you look at a video of how I looked last year at this time, and then look at a recent stream on one that I've shown my face, you can tell I look a lot different. So yeah, stress and working like that does take a toll on you. But that doesn't mean I'll stop working like that either, because I have similar habits. Not quite as bad, but very similar. Like, I can't work until 4 a.m. without passing out. I don't have that kind of energy. This doesn't look too bad. There's a little bit of junk on this probe point. I mean, on this pad for Thunderbolt. But otherwise not too bad. And that'll be fine once we put solder on it. Okay, so this is what bothers me about 559. See how that burned away like that? Like it keeps burning away? If I get some 560 here, watch. So it keeps burning away, and that's really annoying to me. So I just added some 560, and see that? See how it doesn't burn away? See how it stays there? Well, it still burns away, but it doesn't seem to burn away as quick. I don't know. It's hard to tell, honestly. They're both pretty good. Let's see. That's 560. Here's 559. 559 does stay for longer with hot air. I do know that. 560 burns away quicker with, yeah, they're about the same. And I just burned my meter, or my lead, with the iron, and it smells like cancer, literally. Probably don't want to breathe that too much. So this is good to go. Time to add some parts back. Actually, let's put some solder on that center pad, because we don't want... The center pad is for cooling. I don't know if many people knew that, but that's a thermal pad that pulls... It basically uses the board as a heatsink for the chip. So it is important, in a way. Vladimir says, "Are you getting enough rest?" I think I am. I think I'm getting enough rest. Depends on what you consider enough. I mean, I'll get good rest for like 3 days, 4 days, then I'll go back to my old habits. It's been slower lately from just the time of year. One of the reasons why I don't like this time of year at all. Um, so I haven't been staying as late as I usually do, but when I have a normal workload, I will stay extremely late. .049 no G3 hot on MacBook Air. I'm sorry to hear. Should probably fix that somehow. Let's grab a new LP8550. I heard from somebody that these are back in stock now, so that's a good thing. I still have more than I'll need for a while, so I'm good. I bought when I heard that they were going to be discontinued or whatever from Lewis. What I did is I bought the rest of the stock that I could find in the U.S. Arrow was the only one with stock left, so I bought all of their stock. And then I found the LP85 too, which is the same thing. There's a new one I want to try on a Retina board, so it's an LP. Okay, that's fine. An LP80. wait, SQ854, I don't know. It's one of those to the Retina that I think will work in exchange of the expensive chip that you can't get. I screwed up. Yeah, those LCD drivers are available on Mouser, but the thing is they were, for a while, I thought they were discontinued. So let's see if they have them again. Mouser, LP8550, TLE. No, not LED lighting drivers, 42. Let's see. LP8556, LP8552, LP85. Okay, I entered the wrong number. LP8550. 582 in stock. That's kind of a low number, so I'm happy that I found the LP8552, and I believe the LP8552. I believe the LP8552 will work. Or the 3 will work too. Yeah. See, so the 8552 they have 2,000, almost 3,000 in stock. LP8553 TLX. Let's see. This is again the same thing. Oh, non-stocked. Okay, so the 8552 is an alternative. I think is U7090 pin 3 with 1.2 watt normal for PP3V4 boost. Let me look. Okay, let me tell you something. What do you think PP3V42 G3 watt boost does, and why do you think that's not normal? So I want you to look at that circuit. I need you to look at the input, look at the output, and tell me what you think that is. We're going to use brain here. I'm not going to spoon feed answers. I want you to think. So Geo, I want you to tell me your reasoning. I want you to think about it, and I want you to just look at that circuit and tell me what you think is wrong with it before doing this. No please broing, no spoon feeding answers. I want you to think. I want you to use your brain here. Must use brain. And frankly, I don't even know if that's normal or not. It doesn't sound normal. But there's only so many things that could be wrong in the PP3V42 circuit. It's one of the easiest circuits to fix in the machine. So even easier than backlight. There could be no brain in 11:30 on Friday night. Friday nights are things that normal people do. I'm not a normal person. I don't do Friday night. I work on Friday night. I think something very sad just happened. I think I ran out of Q-tips. That is very, very disturbing. So I've just been throwing the chips on the floor. I should vacuum that. Do I have Q-tips? Am I gonna have to use a fake toothpick? I mean a toothpick. whatever the darn thing is called, Q-tip. I think I will, because I don't want to go to the store right now. There's some left. There's a few left. We must conserve, though. Sonia's here. I don't want to plug a screen into a connector that's filled with flux, because one, that could stop it from working, and two, I just don't want to make a mess on the screen connector. It's not good. There, that's not perfect, but it's certainly better. Sonia, try tech equipment or T equipment, whatever it is. T equipment, I don't know. They're okay. Or just message Lewis and ask him. Or call the store or something and see if when they're anticipating them to be back in stock. That's what I would do. And if it's like one or 2 weeks, just wait for them. I would just call. Yeah, that would probably be better. Just call. I had one guy that... Yeah, never mind. Better not say that on stream. Plug this in, and let's see if we get backlight. We get fan spin. Do we get backlight? We get backlight. Let that get a nice question mark folder. We do indeed get a question mark folder. So this is fixed. So we'll go in queue for cleaning and reassembly. Okay, so the next one. Is this an A1398? So this technically is not the next one, but it's sitting here, so why not? Because I'm going to cherry pick an easy one. And what do you know? This is an 820-3332. Wonder what's wrong with an 820-3332. Does it not have image? What could possibly be wrong with an 820-3332? No. U8900 couldn't possibly be bad on a 820-3332, right? That wouldn't be like my who knows how many I've done this week. That would be impossible. Yeah, it's not U8900. Yeah, loss of video, intermittent loss of video on a 820-3332. That's never U8900. Don't even bother. Yeah, don't even bother doing that. Just send it to me. If you have an 820-3332 with no image, don't even bother trying to fix that. It's not U8900. It's never U8900. It's always super complicated board issue. So you should just send it to me instead. I would be very happy to have that. Because clearly it's really, really complicated. And it requires 10 hours of work. I wouldn't want anyone to go through 10 hours of work trying to solve a complicated issue, so yeah. Send them, go to fixyourmacbook.com or www.tcrscircuit.repair and start a new ticket. We will do all the backbreaking work for you. 'Cause it's never U8900 on these, ever. And what? Okay. It's always dead CPU. No, never. I went over this so many times, and I've still gotten ones that people completely butchered. And it's like, why? Why? Why do you do this? Why do you destroy a poor customer's board with a Radio Shack iron? The worst thing is when a repair shop says, oh, I just did this and it still doesn't work, so I'm just going to send it to you. Are you using 10G flux syringes? No, this is 33cc. Worst thing to do is when a repair shop said, oh, I just replaced this chip and it still doesn't work. Okay, that's your cue to run, because it's not only going to be filled with flux everywhere, it's they would have destroyed it. I have no patience for that anymore. My 2011 MacBook Pro is a headphone jack that triggers the MacBook to be disabled, forcing me to use headphones. Cleaning it inside is a pain and a short temporary fix. How much to fix? Okay, so 2011 MacBook Pro. The only thing it is, it's just the switch inside the headphone jack is bad, so replace a headphone jack. But here's the thing. So normally on that we would charge for board repair rates. So if you're a repair store, that's $169. If you're an end user, that's going to be $209. But here's the thing. That's going to have a dead GPU in like 6 months, if it's not dead already or dying already. So if you do want to have it fixed, I can fix it for you. That wouldn't be a problem. But the thing is it's probably going to have a dead GPU, so what I would do is possibly spend money on something else. That's my honest opinion. Rather than fixing that, because they do tend to die and have GPU issues. I've seen them die here when they haven't died here, and they're just a nightmare device to work on. So think of that before deciding to have that fixed. If not, I can fix it for you. That wouldn't be an issue. That wouldn't take that long. That would probably only be 1 to 3 days to fix. So just consider that before getting that fixed. Because there's always a chance that you will get a dead GPU, and I always tell people when they have those, like, I try and talk them out of spending money on those just because of the issues they have, but some people are really persistent and really like those machines, so they want to hold on to them, which I could understand. But yeah, if you don't have any kind of like attachment to the computer or whatever, you don't need something that it has, I wouldn't honestly spend money on it. Get a 17-inch ThinkPad. If you need a 17-inch screen but don't need Mac OS, get a 17-inch ThinkPad. You'll be really happy with it. Okay, so 820-3332, intermittent loss of video. Wonder what it could be. Wonder what could possibly be wrong with this. This one doesn't look too bad, actually. Except for 2. So, this is probably really hard to see with the resolution of a camera. It's hard to see if you're not looking at it in person. See if I can tilt it on an angle. There's one right here. Right there. So that's probably why. Are there any MacBook Pros to stay away from when looking to buy? Yes, absolutely. You should stay away from all MacBook Pros, actually. I don't recommend any MacBook Pros. If you can buy a ThinkPad, I would get a ThinkPad. If you absolutely need a MacBook Pro, I would probably get a 2014 or 2015 A1502. I'd probably go with a 2013-14 over a 15 because the 15 tends to have dead CPUs. Raise my temperature a little bit. I think I used all my Q-tips. Here's some more. Thank you for writing that down, because I'll forget. I got bubble wrap. Yeah, you know what? Here. Just go get it's on the in the front, yeah. Who makes ThinkPads these days? Lenovo's. I use a Lenovo IdeaPad, and I got it off my friend. I'm glad. Lenovo IdeaPads are absolute trash. They are terrible devices. I hate them. Yeah, idea pads are awful. Don't buy an idea pad. Is that a bridge in the top middle? Probably. We'll look at it. I just wanted to clean it, and I'll correct it after. Yeah, idea pads, anything Lenovo consumer grade is absolute, utter trash. ThinkPads, however, are not trash. And that is indeed a bridge. Thank you. I could have killed this GPU on this. I could have been the repair shop that I always tell people to watch out for. Actually, you know what? That's not a bridge. Never mind. Yes, it is. Yogas are junk too. Has worked fine, but then yogas are trash. ThinkPad E series is probably trash. The only ones I recommend are the ThinkPad E series and P series. Those are truly premium devices, and they're well built. One thing Lenovo has done that I despise lately on ThinkPads is they're starting to solder on the RAM. And that's following Apple, and that's terrible. But what are you going to do? The T495, which has an AMD processor, which I want because I see Intel stuff die so much, that has soldered on RAM, which is very sad. This board is fairly dusty. Moving the metal frame off of a A1312 iMac is terrible. I thought it was only 4 screws, but there's adhesive everywhere. Yes. A1312's probably not fun. Let me see. I think I have some special brush I use to clean boards. Somewhere here. Yes. Now we have a nice clean board. See, no more bridge. And it looks decent, except for this right here. So this... I cannot have this look like an Apple refurb board. Okay, I want an honest opinion from the chat. Does this microscope camera look like trash or no? Because I really think it looks like trash. I don't like it. Trying to move this flux over to here. Let's try that. See if I can get a joint out of that. Probably not. There. Of course, it was out of frame. The edges are a bit out of focus. That's how it is on this scope too. Like the image quality is just not that great on this scope. I should buy a new scope. I think it may actually be the scope itself, not the camera, the optics in the scope. So I have another microscope that's the newer type, and the image quality is much better than this. Like it's not even comparable. So yeah, it may be the scope. There, that's good enough. Yeah, the optics do vary. Like two scopes, they're like completely different from each other. It's okay, mine is good enough. So we're gonna do thermal paste. It's always interesting to see how hot the CPU gets and actually discolors the copper every time. I want to do a video on CPU temperatures and stuff. So here's the thing. A lot of people flip out about that, like especially on those like PC building websites. So look at this. The GPU actually got so hot. So what my point is you can have 10 CPUs running at 100 Celsius, and probably only one of those is going to die prematurely. I mean, it's kind of hard to kill a CPU from heat. So for example, look at this. The GPU actually got so hot that it imprinted its own lettering into the heatsink. Now here's the thing. Most of these get along just fine for 10 years, 15 years, whatever. Most of these won't die. You may get like one or two that'll die, but for the most part, they don't die. You know, certain CPUs do, but it's not really related to heat. It's more related to electrical. Like the 14 nanometer chips could run at the same temperature that the 22 nanometer chips will run at, and they will die. It's more on CPU construction, how the CPU is built, rather than heat. I mean, yeah, heat may ruin a couple of them, but for the most part, it doesn't. That's my opinion. I mean, it's good to keep it cooler as well, but it's not, like, you're not going to kill it, even at 100 Celsius. You may get one or two that'll die prematurely compared to, out of 10 or 15, but for the most part, they get along just fine. It's like resistance. So the Broadwell ULV chips will start out around 50 ohms to ground. It shortens lifespan by like a year for something rated for 5 years. Yeah, but thing is this computer is already like almost 10 years old. And these, you don't see CPU and GPU failures on these that often. I mean, like all the 2011 A1278s or whatever that run at 105 Celsius on the CPU, those are getting along just fine. But the newer chips aren't, but I suspect that's not from heat, because that's with all manufacturers. But like, do you really need to be concerned if your CPU is running at 80 Celsius compared to 60 or 50? No. I could care less if the CPU in my stuff is running at 50 or 80, because that difference isn't going to make a difference. I mean, it's not going to have an effect on lifespan. Keep it under 100, I would say. Keep it under, and you're not going to notice a difference in anything. I think the name is Electron Migration. Core 2 Duo had a few revisions that are practically dead today. Can't even run at stock speed any longer. Yeah, so Electron Migration, you see this. So if you measure CPU vCore resistance to ground on a bunch of machines. So some of them are really low, like this one's going to be 1.5 ohms, but let's say the MacBook Airs with the Broadwell ULV. They will start out around 50 ohms to ground when they're new, and then over time usage they'll drop to like 10 ohms. Now they will drop to like 10 ohms, and then it starts going down a lot slower, and eventually they will drop to like 5, and then that's when you start getting kind of down there. The higher the resistance is, the lower the resistance to ground is, the more power it will use, and over time it will not be able to run on the stock voltage, and then you get random crashing and stuff like that. And that process does take place faster at higher heat. But, you're not going to really notice, I don't think, lifespan difference that much. But I'm talking about in reasonable use. I'm not talking about holding on to some piece of junk from 2008 or 9, Okay, so this is about done. Take off this fan, clean this fan out. And I don't think anyone wants to see me reassemble this thing, so I'm going to end it now. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next stream.